And we are live. Thank you to all one of you for being so patient with us as we got everything ready this evening. And welcome to our show about warning labels, Tide Pods, and idiots. And the idiots part, we get to start with a YouTuber who used social media to scam a bunch of followers.
And businesses.
And businesses, yeah. Just to go show you people, don't give some random person on the internet your bank account information.
So the story goes, she is a 22-year-old YouTuber who's from like the New Jersey area, and she had a pretty good following, about like 300K. And I guess her and her boyfriend announced that, hey, anyone who needs leads when it comes to making more money, just give me your bank info and we'll send you a check. Well, the checks always bounced, and it ended up causing not only the people that gave her the bank information, such as like your average 10-year-old horny teenager, but also the checks that were fraudulent were to like actual businesses like auto body repair shops. And I'm like, I can't believe that you would be dumb enough to think that you could get away with that for that long. And she managed, between her and her accomplices, to scam over $1 million.
Only $1 million? They need to take lessons from Leonardo DiCaprio's character from Catch Me If You Can, which is actually based on a true story.
It is unknown how much time she's going to be put in for, but I'm sure an offense like this is not taken too lightly.
Yeah, many years in prison. You're talking about forgery of checks and other types of fraud.
Yes, that was an interesting thing that I found today. I just found that out today, so I assume it's pretty current. I think when I looked at the article, it was only a couple days old.
Yeah. The funny part is, she would have had to get a hold of the checks that were written from these companies to get a hold of what bank they were and get the right information on there. I mean, technically, she could have written them, since they all bounced, obviously, they were for illegitimate accounts. So who knows if these accounts even existed. So she would have had to make fake check paper.
And that's what she did. They said that, I guess one of the companies that was being scammed by like almost $10,000 said that they were like, yeah, like our checks don't even look like that. And I was just thinking to myself, while the crime that she pulled is very bad, the fact that she like did get away with it as long as she did is kind of like sad, because
Whoa.
it just shows you that people are so stupid with their money. Like, there's very few people that me or Tony would ever trust with our bank information, and that's like a significant other or like maybe a dying family member. So like, to have so many young viewers be taken advantage of by this person is just crazy to think about.
Well, here's the one thing. On Patreon, because of the way Patreon works, my bank information is in my Patreon. So Laura over here, if we ever get Patreon money for this podcast, I'll obviously share it with her at least a little bit since she is my co-host, but I'm never letting her have access to that account just because it's got my money information in it and whatnot.
And that makes sense.
And, but that's because we can do that because we trust it enough that she trusts that I'm not going to screw over on, whatever money's hers, because I'm not that kind of person. But it's like, and some of the checks weren't even signed.
Yeah, that's like the crazy part. And like, to me, I've been like screwed over before by scammers, and like, that's the worst kind of way to like get your money, to say that you scammed someone. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in a way, these people were dumb and consented to like giving their bank information, but still,
yeah.
what she did is highly illegal.
Oh, yeah. And another thing, I came across this website, actually. It was my birthday, which was on Wednesday. Had the day off. And Well, I came across a website called My Life, which posts like a reputation report and all the stuff that you got to buy, but they've got all your information for sale. So I actually had to call them and threaten legal action to get them to take it down. Otherwise, they would have told me I had to give them money every month to keep them from spreading my information. So there are websites out there that are guilty of doxing and racketeering at the same time.
Yeah, like the fact that you can buy like information like that is crazy. Like, I know there was an app that I was using on Instagram to see if like people unfollowed me or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Well, if you pay money, that app will go to like, the next tier, because I was using the free version of it.
Yeah.
Well, if you pay money, you can see who like your ghost followers are, as well as people who have you blocked, people who've deleted comments.
Uh-huh.
And like that's crazy to think that like
Oh,
this site somehow got that information.
Oh yeah, and like our SoundCloud, we have one like from one person, but the rest of our likes on the SoundClouds of this podcast, and actually I'm about 3 episodes behind, my bad for on uploading them to SoundCloud and stuff. But most of the likes we got and followers are those stupid pay me to repost and get you a bunch of followers, and then they connect you to a Fiverr account.
It like makes me laugh how many people that I like have to like direct message on Facebook who like these are people that I know and stuff, and I'm like, hey, did you get hacked? You just like wrote a really weird status about something, and then they're like, no, I don't think I got hacked, and I'm like, yeah you did, and they're like, shit,
Oh yeah,
because they click on some weird link.
Oh yeah, I have a very secure password on my Facebook, although I didn't always, and at one point Facebook actually locked me out because somebody tried to log in from South America.
Did you make it too simple of a password, like 123 or something?
No, it was a password, and I'll say this password on here because I do not use this password, and I never will use it again. But it was Star Wars versus Star Trek, 1993.
But they weren't able to get on because they didn't guess it, right?
They weren't able to get on because of where they were logging in from. It flagged the potentially not wanted person stuff because it was so far from where I normally log in.
So they knew your age, is what you're saying, right?
Not necessarily, but they tried to get into my Facebook.
That's crazy to think about because, like, besides the 1993 part, that might be guessable, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's just way too much information out there, and people are stupid with information, which leads us to our next topic that we're going to talk about. So we are both on a site called Retail Worker Confessions, which is a group on Facebook.
Oh yes,
where
a
a lot of people,
toxic group, but it's fun
a
to
lot
watch.
of people post memes, which I personally enjoy the memes myself.
Yeah, I'm on it for the memes. Some of the stories
Because,
are just whiny ass little bitches that need to learn to grow up.
you know, they make fun of my pain and suffering, so I enjoy a good meme. But this particular person, she made a post, and she didn't even take it down. It was actually the moderator that took it down because, as you guys know, Facebook groups, there are a lot of stupid people out there, so they need to make rules and moderate and all that crap. Well, basically, this person made a post complaining about their workplace, saying, oh, I didn't get a promotion, blah, blah, blah. Normally, you know, whatever, that's not a big deal. But this, I don't know if this person was, like, purposely being stupid or just trying to get a rile out of people.
She posted where she worked.
Like,
location
to
and everything.
the exact location, called out actual people's names, said where she's from. She was actually from Michigan, interestingly enough.
I find it funny that her husband's sister, and her husband's mother, and her all worked at the same Wendy's.
But the fact that she put, like, the number Wendy's, like, you can actually search something like that up.
Oh yeah, and I guarantee you, she doesn't have a job anymore.
To me, why, if you're gonna complain about something like that, like, keep it anonymous. And also, what a lot of people don't realize on that site is, like, you need to take your workplace off of Facebook if you're gonna complain about a place.
Oh yeah, and you know these workplaces have spies in those groups.
Yeah, and like I know for the most part, people aren't gonna like. I mean, there has been actual proof that people have like told to workplaces, and people have gotten fired for like sharing too much information.
Oh yeah, I
So you
have
can't
this.
trust, a bunch of. There's over 100,000 people in that group.
Oh yeah, almost like what's that? 1/3 to 10%, so about 3% of the U.S. population's on that group, and they're not all in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, there's a decent amount of international people,
Oh
but
yeah,
still,
but still, I mean, there's this like unwritten and written rule on the site. You don't contact these people's employers and snitch on them, and you don't share that sort of information on the site.
yeah, that's just like basically asking for it at that point.
Oh yeah, it's just asking to lose your job at that point.
And I just don't understand why that person like did it. Like I found it comical. Like I actually made a comment saying, "Well, you might as well share your credit card information at that point."
No shit. And I'm someone who doesn't really share his information. I mean, I think I have one thing where I have Google has my debit card information, so it can autofill when I go online. But every time I have to enter in the back code, it doesn't say the CVC code. You know that one on the back, the 3 digits and whatnot.
Oh,
It doesn't say
I
that, so I still have to enter that every time.
I have a couple cards on file like for Amazon, but I go on Amazon so often that I
Oh
don't
yeah,
mind it.
oh yeah. When you use it that often, when you use it so often, you don't really care. Um, but it's still being selective. It's not like I go on every site and give them my credit card information.
Yeah. But like to me, it's just some people are stupid and
Oh yeah.
also but both of us interestingly enough are from the same hometown ish for our viewers.
Well, I was
And there
born out of state, but then I moved there young enough, so basically is my hometown. But yeah.
yeah, well there was this site, also a Facebook group that I found today. And this woman was basically being a Karen about. She had said, "Well, I can't believe this. This woman was protesting, saying that white supremacy should end, and she was white, by the way." And everyone in the comments was saying, "So basically, we found the racist in the group." And like, I was just laughing so much because I really wanted to comment something like, "Oh, are you sure your name isn't Karen?" But I
Well,
decided against it.
just remember, in ninth grade while I was on the bus, I met a black neo-Nazi.
Oh wow.
So I had to like, really? You're doing the white supremacist thing, and you ain't even white.
I mean, what weirds me out is why this person was pressed because someone who wasn't black was doing that. Like, why does it matter what her race was? White supremacy shouldn't be a thing to begin with.
Well, any race supremacy shouldn't be a thing to begin with. We're all
Right.
humans.
But, like, why did it matter what her race was that was, like, promoting that?
Yeah,
I just don't understand it.
neither do I. But that goes into another thing with some idiots. If you don't know this, Laura, I work with someone who I would deem a libertard.
Okay.
Okay, and mind you, listeners and viewers, I don't think all liberals are retarded. Okay? A libertard is a very extreme, very special kind of new liberal, because a classical liberal would be a libertarian. You know, definitions of words change over time, evolution of language and all that. Well, I was talking to him about my concerns about all the Democratic nominees, although it does look like Bernie Sanders might actually get the nomination this time.
I think so too because
But
he
he's going to
does seem to
lose.
be ahead. I mean, for Democrat, I think he's going to get it
Oh, yeah,
between
but
him
he's
and
not going
Joe
to get into the
Biden.
White House, though.
I don't think so either.
Uh, he's kind of gone off the deep end. He went from reasonable in the 2016 to really extreme now. So he's lost all his middle ground support, which is what he would need to win the White House. Remember, people, it's the moderates who actually decide the election. Most people are moderate. Well, anyways, this guy I work with, I talk to him and I say how I'm concerned with all the Democrats wanting to take away all firearms that hold more than one bullet. Well, except a magazine that holds more than one bullet. So essentially nothing but flintlocks.
Okay.
And I say all that stuff. He says, well, for home defense, you should only need 2 or 3 if you're a good shot. I'm like, you don't know how gunfights work, do you? And I say, well, no, it's about tyrannical government. He's like, well, then you'd have to kill American soldiers and they'd label you a traitor. When you rise up against tyrannical government, why wouldn't they label you a traitor instantly? This guy didn't really get what was coming out of his mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they just automatically label you a traitor as soon as you decide not to listen to them when they're tyrannical.
What confused me, like when it comes to gun laws and stuff. So the place that I work at, like we have to do government shit basically. And we were like asking these businesses, like, have you ever been discriminated by other businesses because you know, are an owner of a gun shop or whatever? And I guess this was for some group that supports this kind of thing. I don't know. But personally, I just don't understand the ideal of, like, another business discriminating a business. Like, that's lost revenue and lost, like, potential partnerships. So it seemed counterproductive for us to be asking these people if they... Like, on an individual level, I feel like, yeah, you could definitely be discriminated against if that was widely known information. But I don't think, per se, being a gun shop would be like that.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. But people don't understand. Like, I was talking to this guy, and I tried to get him to say... I tried to explain to him, he said something about gun laws, and how he thinks they make people safer. Remember, people, criminals don't obey the law. And I said, well, look at Chicago. It's got, like, the most restrictive gun laws on the planet, well, in the country, and it has the top of gun violence. Then he said, well, if you go through all of Illinois, it's not so bad. For statewide. I'm like, and then he says, well, it's only the poor area that has that problem. Well, obviously the gun laws aren't working on the gun violence because it's still there.
No, definitely not.
It's like, I told you, the one with the worst laws has the most gun violence. They said, well, it's not a thing about the laws, it's an income disparity, and we can't prove whether or not they actually help or harm. Having them restricted helps or harms with self-defense. At that point, if you can't prove it either way, then why are you trying to pass laws? Oh yeah, because how they make you feel. And because the actual statistics say that that most gun violence is done with handguns. Well,
that makes sense.
Most gun violence that commits is suicide. 2/3 is suicide. But then we need to look at a mental health thing with our country. And the fact that
we're very dangerous when it comes to that. We're all depressed and caffeinated.
Depressed and caffeinated and on medication. There's also things where we used to actually have to build a wall on our emotions and learn to just cope with them. Then we got coddled by our parents, and some of us kind of became assholes and narcissists and learned to survive. The other ones jumped off bridges. But here's
that was like kind of a funny thing. I mean, not funny about that. But
it's dark humor. It's okay to laugh.
I went to work today, and I get asked, because one of my part-time jobs that I do is being an influencer. So on Instagram, I get asked to do like different partnerships and stuff like that. And sometimes I get asked to do partnerships on shit that I don't actually use. Well, a lot of those things are like tablets, such as like things for brain support, or like apple cider vinegar, or workout shit. Stuff that I don't use or
Oh yeah.
really want to use. Well, basically, I work with a bunch of people that are like kind of on the older side, and let me tell you, that stuff goes quick. So everyone's all about having the pills and stuff.
Oh yes, medication, medication. I need a pill because I can't handle my own life.
I don't think it's the answer. Like maybe like I am so anti-pill about things. To be honest, it's not even funny.
I think I was on medication for my depression for a few months, and that's in college, and that's only because I told someone I knew in college about the past, and she said she was a registered reporter, and if I didn't seek help, she'd report me to get me committed, which would pretty much it would pretty much make it to with a firearm I own today, I would not have been able to own. I probably would have lost my right to vote and all that shit, forcible committing and whatnot. It's like,
Oh wow.
but all I said was, I'm not on medication and whatnot. I've had this for a while, but I'm dealing with it. It's just the fleeting thing. I mean, sometimes
Why
you
was
get,
she being an asshole?
huh?
Why was she being an asshole?
Older gal who thinks that everyone needs to be on medication. Because what you don't
Oh wow.
understand is a lot of these people will think that if you're depressed, you need medication. You must be under treatment at all times. Now, granted, I am also addicted to video games. So, and yes, people, video games can be as addictive as crack. I remember in college, I'd rather play video games to do my schoolwork.
I think I'm addicted to social media, but it also doesn't help that I'm constantly having to look for work through it as well. So,
Well, you make part of your living on the internet.
yeah. And I also like gain some of my following on the internet as well, which by the way, my YouTube channel reached 200 subscribers.
Yay! You need to tell them about us on this podcast's existence. Some of them might like it.
Maybe.
Ooh, you're saying maybe. Are we stereotyping our audience now?
I'm worried that like they don't want to hear about politics and
Just
religion.
say we talk about random shit, politics, religion, whatever. If you'd like to hear about it, come watch. If not, just watch my channel and ignore the podcast.
True. Wait, do we have a viewer still or no?
We have the one, but I think it's the preview.
Oh.
Which is why I'm telling you to tell people to watch. More viewers we get, the more this thing gets pushed on YouTube.
Very, very true.
Although I really need to start making videos more often. Though I did start writing the script for review of Police Academy. You were saying?
What was did you unprivate the one video I told you about?
Unprivate. Oh, the review. I may have to.
Yeah.
Later.
What was the other topic we were going to talk about?
Mostly we were just talking about idiots. The title is Warning Labels, Tide Pods, and Idiots. So essentially, idiots don't listen to warning labels.
I found out there's this dude that I was laughing at his name. He as a person, not that funny, but his name's Briscoe Kane. I was like telling people about his name, and I was just laughing whenever I said it. So his name is spelled Briscoe, and then wait, what?
Sounds like something happened. Hello?
Yeah, I got a weird message from someone. So, hearing this live, guess what I just randomly got texted?
Okay.
I am Crystal. I learned on your site that you like porn. Me too. Check this out.
Yeah, I get weird texts like that too. Delete it.
Yeah, that sounds sketchy.
Oh, shit.
So what I was, so this dude is like running for something, I don't remember. But I'm 5, basically. So I was telling my coworkers, okay, so his name is Briscoe, Briscoe, and then his last name is Cain, Cain, and it sounds like cocaine.
So his name sounds like brisk cocaine?
Like when you say it's Briscoe Cain. And we were just saying, like, I can't take this name seriously, I'm sorry.
Brisk cocaine, and I thought Brisk was only a iced tea company.
Like, it actually is a name, which is weird. And I was, like, looking up other people with that name, and, like, it's an uncommon name, but it's still a name. I was like, what the hell is this?
Hey, at least you're not a guy whose last name is Buds and his first name is Harold, and goes by Harry.
I mean, at least it's not a dick, so.
Yes, because your name was Richard.
That, we were saying in the group that Dick is actually the male version of Karen.
I thought that was a Kyle.
I think we said Rich or Dick because they're being dicks is why we called it that.
I never understood where Karen came from.
I never understood it either. I think it was just a running gag that there's always like a middle-aged white woman with a weird bob cut, and we just decided to call her Karen.
Yeah, probably a Reddit thing. Ooh, those Reddit stories. Maybe we should get promotion and start doing a couple of those every episode. You know, like comment, comma, chameleons thing where he reads Reddit stories like pro revenge and all that stuff.
I don't know that. There was this thing trending that I found, and it almost seemed like something you'd find on Reddit. But basically, this dude was trying to get like the attention of like these major celebrities. So he did this and he told them to like go on Instagram and do it. And he managed to do this to a famous YouTuber or YouTube personality named David Dobrik, and he also did it to a famous singer, Billie Eilish. Basically, the guy said, make your tagged photos me in a purple Teletubby costume. So literally, the guy, David Dobrik, commented and made a TikTok saying, dude, why are all my tagged photos this random dude in a Teletubby costume? And me listening to that was just like, that sounds like something that you'd find on Reddit for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, Reddit can be very entertaining.
And also very evil, depending on who you have doing it. This was just a rumor, but I was told... So we have this friend who is crazy and annoying. Mostly crazy, if you know who I'm talking about.
Is he short and weird looking?
He's dating someone's leftovers.
Oh, okay, I know which one you're talking about. Go ahead.
Well, anyways, he had said, and I have no idea if this is true or not, but I'm going to take what he said with a grain of salt, like I take most of his things. So, this very, very famous cosplayer, who, when you look at her, looks like she probably does porn, named Belle Delphine. I guess people got pissed off at her and were like, saying in Reddit that they want to get her banned. So they got her Instagram banned for the most part, and the only thing she was able to keep was Twitter, and she didn't really post on YouTube or anything like that. So it led me to wonder, well, was it because they did that, or like something happened in her personal life that like happened? Because this girl was huge. Like, people were so into her that they were buying her bath water.
Hmm.
which like is a really weird sounding sexual thing. Just hearing that,
Oh
like,
yeah.
imagine paying $40 for someone's used bathwater.
Oh yeah. Oh, have you ever heard of pro revenge?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Now, for future reference, in future time, I'm probably going to start asking before I share these stories. But here, I'll read this one because it says, "Fire me, you're all losing your jobs." Here's how it goes. My 2019 was wild, but with everything falling on the up and up, or finally on the up and up, I feel I can tell this story here. After uni, late 2018, so I'm going to say that's probably university, I fell on rough times and was forced to move back to my hometown. I tried to transfer my job to a branch in my area but failed, thus I needed to get a new job. I settled for a 20 an hour week job at a Bookies with a second bartending job in the evening. Bookies is the target for my revenge, which was entirely accidental. So names changed. Let's see here. I'll actually have to do this later because this is a long story. But you have to look it up, Laura. They are hilarious. You gotta love how some of these people find their revenge. But I'll stutter through the whole
See,
thing.
there's just so much stuff that I hear on that was from Reddit that comes about to be on like regular social media stuff, and like most of it's not good that I hear is the problem.
Oh no, there's a whole thing on YouTube of r slash tales from retail, pro revenge, nuclear revenge is my favorite. Tales from IT, tales from tech support, stuff like that. Entitled parents.
I always find it interesting how on YouTube, like, you like come upon these videos that, and everyone, if you guys have ever heard of Good Mythical Morning, that's a really big YouTube channel, but I
It's
assume
kind of
has
gotten kind of stupid.
kind of died out. Well, basically, there was this one video that they did, and like, clickbaity thumbnails, people get interested and blah blah blah. Well, this video was not clickbait, but they had the screen grab as insanely cold Cheetos, and then comparing it to like the hot Cheetos. It was if like food was in an alternate universe. Well, almost all of the fucking comments were saying, "Y'all, I haven't watched these guys in like a year," or "It seems like these guys fell off the face of the earth, and this is the one video that I ended up coming back to." And I was just like, I
Yeah,
think these people, like, they still made videos regularly, but like,
we just all lost interest.
yeah, like that was literally a video that I just happened upon, and it's been so long since I've watched one of their videos. Same with H3H3.
The videos aren't entertaining anymore.
Like, literally, the only reason why H3H3, you guys, if you know about that channel, H3H3 is only big ish because they have, like, relevant guests on their podcast, as well as they're now owners of a pretty successful clothing line. But what
Oh
they
yeah.
once were before is not what they are now.
Oh yeah. And mind you, viewers, if I on my end, and Laura doesn't really have the time to do this, and I'm not going to expect to because she's co-host. But if I on my end actually put in the time and effort on this, we could get big on here. It's just I'm a lazy asshole, and this podcast is more for fun than anything else.
Yeah, we started this podcast literally because we thought that, like, we talk about this shit, so we might as well talk about it to
The
maybe
edit.
an audience if they're listening.
Yeah, we didn't do this for fame or fortune.
No. We don't recommend anyone start up a YouTube or any social media in the idea of making money, because that's really not how it goes. Like, anyone who's ever gotten big on anything, they don't expect it to happen. They
Oh
have
yeah.
a wow factor that just ends up getting big with a bunch of people. I mean, one of the biggest people on social media today is a 15-year-old named Charlie D'Amelio, who's got over 30, almost 30 million on TikTok, who's basically a household name by now, and she just got big for like making dances
Oh
and
yeah.
doing them.
Yep. And because I live under the rock and don't ever pay attention to what's going on in the world because I really don't care and I don't put enough effort into this, I have never gotten big. I think I have
Yes.
57 subscribers, and most of them are dead subscribers, as in don't watch anything anymore.
That's I actually had to like clean out my subscriptions because I was looking at all of the people I was subscribed to, besides like, the big people that I watch. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't count them. But like the regular people that I was subscribed to, I checked on their channels. If they have not posted in at least a month, I assume that you're not doing anything. So then I just unsubscribed because I'm like, well, if you're not making new content, then what's the point in me being subscribed?
Oh yeah, and my gaming channel, which I really should get back on, getting games recorded and up. I just haven't gotten into it in a while. Um, I mean, I posted one video the other thing. Well, I think my problem was and has always been is I'll post a bunch of stuff, then I'll forget to post and record anything for like over a month or so. Then it'll be months on end. Then I'll do months of posting a bunch of shit. So I don't know if I need to like do things in seasons where I have break times that are scheduled so people know, hey, he'll be back, or what I
I
need to do for
was
myself.
I was always a big proponent for like I just recently got in the habit of being like pretty consistent with my content, which I have been for a good like 5 or 6 months now. But not per se to the people with my following, because like we know we ain't making money from this, so obviously you're not gonna be like the most consistent. But like these really really big YouTubers that like can't even make a point to like post every month or like post every week.
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
no.
what are y'all doing with your time?
Oh yeah, I mean they make all their money off this site, but they can't be bothered to post any content.
I think like once you get to that level of like fame of like a million subscribers or even 500,000, I think people just get bored of it and try to make their money elsewhere. Like they've already gained the following. So at that point, they're just hoping to ride out on sponsorships, I would say.
Oh yeah,
Which,
and
like, to me is a slap in the face to your subscribers because we subscribed to you for a reason. We were thinking that you were going to make content.
oh yeah, and a lot of my content stoppage came from my worrying about COPPA and when
Yeah.
that all went down.
Which,
And
like,
I just haven't
honestly,
gotten back on the wagon since.
I was very happy at how that turned out. Like, yeah, it's like a couple extra steps for me to, like, say, oh, this video is not for kids, by the way. But, like, people blew it out into proportion, and it really ended up being fine.
Oh yeah, and I just put legal disclaimer that is titled legal shit, and because it's got a swear word in it, the bot automatically believes it's not for kids.
Well, that's good then.
Because you have swearing. If you got swearing in description, you're probably not a video for kids.
Yeah.
So, I can kind of dissuade the bot that way. Um, and also don't play little educational games, although that kind of sucks for me. Because at one point I was actually thinking of going back to those old Jumpstart games that I played as a kid. Do you remember those Jumpstart games on the CDs? Like Jumpstart first grade, Jumpstart third grade, second grade.
No, I remember this weird educational game that I played where like it was a tube and you'd like spin like the sides or something and like I don't know what it's called, but
No, but
maybe it was called Bop It.
maybe. Oh yeah, that was Bop It, but that wasn't
Yeah, yeah.
educational. That was just a pattern recognition game. No, Jumpstart was a series of games that was for learning to read and math and all that stuff, and I
Do you
loved them.
remember the electronic like books and shit that you would those would help you read?
Yeah, I remember those too. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't And then they'd have those flip books that you'd go through that'd be like really
Mhm.
skinny looking, like 100 pages, and they'd have like different cards and stuff that you could like learn shit on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember. That brings back so many memories of like shit that my parents would buy to get
Oh
me to
yeah.
learn things.
And you know what though? I did actually enjoy, and even a couple years ago, I finally found one of my Jumpstart games and went back and played it. And the educational part was kind of stupid, but some of it was like a painting game or a cooking game or asteroids type thing or a brick breaker type of thing.
I used to have
And it
a
was
old
fun.
DS game that was actually like education based. It was like
Yeah.
something like Academy or whatever. And
Brain
like I remember
Academy.
those.
I think it's
Yeah,
Brain Academy.
yeah. I actually remember having fun with those. Weirdly enough.
It's odd. It's like if you go back in time, educational games used to be fun.
Yeah,
Like they knew how to educate the kid and give them something that is fun. Because what they do is they would tie in your normal adult games, like marbles, brick breaker, asteroids, that sort of thing, and tie in an educational element. And that was fun. I mean, like you could bowl, but you had to learn things to do the bowling.
yeah. Like the thing is, like when it comes to the psychology behind like what makes games popular, these educational games still made it work because they still had like the bright colors, the bold text, all of that stuff. But like it
Yeah,
had the same addictiveness to it, but you were also
like
actually learning shit.
I remember I was playing this game called Reader Rabbit, and the objective of the game was to get all these pieces of the set of armor to get into this rocket ship at the end of the castle. And it was a point and click adventure game that led you into other things. Like you had to learn math and reading and all this stuff, and then do these platformer spots where you had to figure out the math or whatever to figure out how to get past it. So it was like a platformer, a point and click adventure game, and a puzzle game all together. And it was educational and entertaining because you're like, I want to solve this. I want to get good at reading this or solving this math problem so I can beat the game.
I want to make a off topic. I want to make a disclaimer. When I made that comment about our friend being annoying and weird, we're all annoying and weird, by the way.
Oh, yes, very much so. We get on each other's nerves on a regular basis.
And the whole leftovers comment was like whatever to that. So,
Yeah, they don't have any context for that. We can just leave it at that.
well, I was gonna say honestly, we live in small towns, so it happens to everyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
But on the whole like education thing, I have not seen games recently that look cool that would be educational as well.
No, they made them all simple, just like the kids' TV shows.
They simplified Pokemon to the point where like they basically tell you where you need to go, which I don't think is that helpful, to be honest.
Oh
It
no.
takes away from like actually the last game that I played. I don't remember what it was, but it on the map it would give you hints where you're supposed to be at. I'm like,
Oh
who's
yeah.
this for? 5-year-olds?
Oh yeah. That's the that's the funny part. And really, there's actually this series of games by what's called Sleepy Duck is the developer and publisher. They're called Learn Japanese to Survive,
Oh
and
wow.
they're good. They're not the greatest games. They're kind of stupid, and they definitely used an RPG Maker type software to let them make it. And there's a lot of generic in it and a lot of reused stuff. So they're not perfect, but they are still kind of fun, and they make learning my Japanese fun. Granted, I still need to actually sit down, go
Is that
through, and do
graphic?
my. Yeah, it has graphics. It's a 2D RPG game.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like you know how Pokemon is?
Yeah, yeah.
Think of that, but without the Pokemon. Instead, it's like Fire Emblem
Fire
or
Emblem.
Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know
Fire
what you're
Emblem,
talking
Final
about.
Fantasy. You have a group of characters. Each one have different attacks and whatnot, and you have them in each attack. Well, your attacks are using the right sound to have them attack the right characters, so you can learn the characters. And you go to the side quests to learn the words. So you get to learn the characters and learn words at the same time. Kind of makes it a
That
little
kind
more
of
fun.
reminds me of there was like kind of a fun game. I think it's still around. I think it's called like Duolingo or something like that.
Hmm.
And it's a game where like you can like learn Spanish or shit like that.
Oh yeah,
And the way that they have it set up for you to learn these terms is kind of like a fun layout. So then slowly you can like build up your knowledge of like these languages.
oh yeah. And although I do want to bring up one thing, here, since we only got about 15 minutes left. Have you listened to the latest news about the coronavirus?
I have not.
Apparently, there's 395 suspected cases in Michigan. None
300?
and 95 that are being watched because they might have it, though they
Oh
probably
shit.
don't. It's probably just the regular flu. Apparently, the way that coronavirus, it's actually a version of SARS, but
Hmm.
apparently this coronavirus, it kills you with with viral pneumonia.
I actually had a coworker freaking out at me yesterday. So I was starting to cough, and for those of you guys who don't know much about getting your wisdom teeth out, I got all four of mine out, and it can make your mouth incredibly dry. And basically, I wasn't drinking enough water. I was taking a lot of antibiotics because that's what you're supposed to take for preventing
Prevent
infection and
infection.
shit. Well, it made it so my throat was really dry and I was coughing a lot. And she was like, "Oh, why are you coughing? Are you sick? Do you have coronavirus?" And I'm like, "No, I got literally all my wisdom teeth out and my throat's dry. I'm not sick."
Oh
And
yeah,
people are freaking out. Like, people are wearing still the masks everywhere they go, basically.
oh yeah. Germaphobes. We've become a
Yeah,
country of germaphobes.
basically. Which I don't think personally those masks are the most helpful thing in the world.
They aren't, because they aren't
But
a perfect seal. They're better than nothing,
but
though.
yeah, I mean they're better than nothing, but I think they're more a security blanket for people who think that they aren't going to get anything.
But here's the thing: even with that many suspected infections, here's the thing: there have only been 8 or 9 confirmed cases in the United States. It has a 2-week incubation period. Okay. Since that first case, I think it's been like maybe a month or so since the first case, and there's only been another like 6 or 7 cases. So you're looking at a very small spread rate. Most people, it's just the flu, and most people who do get it get over it. It's the very old and people who have been sick before that die from it. The rest of them seem to recover pretty well.
Yeah,
So your chances of death are around right now in China 2.5% with horrible medical facilities. Here in America, with excellent medical facilities and medical care where you can be put in ICU and kept alive until your body fights it off, um, your chances are pretty much zero of dying from it. Though you may die of a heart attack when you get the bill from the doctor.
yeah.
Little dog humor there.
I mean, it's like so shocking to me that like obviously I know a lot of people are in debt, aka you, but I joined this Facebook group called Debt Free or something like that. And I guess this dude like preaches how he like gets people out of debt and
Oh,
whatever.
Dave
But
Ramsey.
Yeah, yeah. So this group is based on people who are like not to the extreme point that he is, because there are some people that seem to follow him like cult leaders, basically. But these
Oh
are,
yeah.
casual people that are trying to get out of debt and whatnot. And it just like makes me laugh so much at how many people are claiming, I make so much money, blah 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 blah, but I'm in a shit ton of debt, and I'm like, you really need to know how to like
Manage your money.
that and like live within your means. Like, yeah, you could be making good money. Like, I don't know. There's one weird person was saying that they're like a cam girl, and like supposedly makes like 8K a month or whatever, but somehow is in like 60 to 70 thousand worth of debt, and I'm like,
8K a month,
to be a cam girl.
$60,000 to $70,000. If she went down and lived on $1,000 of that every month and put the rest towards her debt, she would be out of debt in less than a year.
Yeah, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, I think people think when they get a credit card that that means that they have income. That is not the case. You can't buy whatever you want with a credit card.
No, you have to pay that back with
And
interest.
or like these people who have um I just think that like that group is so annoying to me that so many people just don't know how to like,
Now,
you know.
most of my financial problems is the amount of credit card payments I have because I have a lot of credit card debt. Now that's
And
my
you,
own
but you make a
bed.
point to like
I'll,
pay them.
but I pay at least the minimum payments every month, and I will accept that I made my bed and now I gotta sleep in it.
Well, you probably pay a little bit more than the minimum.
I can't afford to pay more than minimum right now.
But isn't your percentage higher then?
Uh, the percentage doesn't go up because you paid the only the minimum payment. It just means that you are going to be paying just enough to cover the interest plus a little bit of the principal. So you
Right.
end up
Okay.
so it ends up taking like 10 years to pay off $100.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, credit cards are not a good way to fund things.
Well, are
And
you thinking of doing the snowball effect where like you try to get your highest percentage one covered first?
yeah, I got other issues that I don't want to go into on the show
Okay,
that are kind
gotcha.
of in my situation. Because, you see, I do listen to Dave Ramsey from time to time, and I listen to
Because
some
that
of
was
these
one of his
people.
points he was talking about to
Oh
do
yeah,
the
no, the
one with
debt
the.
snowball is great, and I even have an Excel spreadsheet on what I need to take, and I need to update it on what I have going out and coming in every month.
Yeah, I was actually looking at some of his tips, and some people in the group were saying that the spreadsheet's helpful because you can see
Yeah.
like where all the money's
Like
going.
me, I need to stop eating out. I need to stop taking on so many internet subscriptions. Stop subscribing to a bunch of shit. Stuff like that.
Yeah, the
Stop
whole
going to
like
movies.
cutting out cables helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, I need it for the internet.
Yeah, I mean I need internet too, but
I mean, we do have a podcast to run.
yeah. Well, no, I was saying cable as in like regular
Well, I
TV.
looked
I
into
cut.
in my package, Laura. It would cost the same for me to just have internet.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I have a shitty ass cable company, but essentially, in my situation, I know what I need to do. The problem is just doing it.
Yeah.
And I even have these things. My mom does Instacart for a living. And I've thought about, although I kind of make excuses for it, going on the weekends and doing their on demand service where, hey, we got a like. But I've thought about going on their on demand service and who wants the dog dust address? California, I'm not a hacker.
Wait, what? What they say?
Who wants D- Dust's address?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either. Guys, we don't. Hey, I don't want the address, but go. You can pick on stuff, but dude, please do remove your comment. It says there while there are no mods and no need to behave on the internet, who wants this address? Actually, B Sanchez, I am deleting your comment because putting someone's address on the net is doxing and a federal crime. So if you continue to do that in our chat, we will be reporting you to the FBI because we do not support doxing in the slightest. Do not try to post people's address in our comments, please. We don't mind the swearing. We don't mind a little bit of name calling. But personal information should never be revealed on here at all.
Yes.
So I just went and deleted your comment because that is our code of conduct. Yeah, don't be a troll. Yeah, he did a 0.0. Don't care. You're obviously an asshole. And I know I am one.
We both are.
Yeah, we have zero tolerance for certain behaviors on the net.
It's similar to last week when every social media personnel had their nudes leaked. Just because you saw it doesn't mean you need to be spreading it around. Okay?
Oh no, does not mean you need to be spreading it around. But we were saying something about. What were we talking about?
Oh my god.
Shit, we forgot what we were talking about.
We were talking about Dave Ramsey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what I
Both of us are stupid, especially at this time.
Yeah.
But
I
I was saying how like the spreadsheet for both of us is helpful to see where the finances are.
He says, "Who knew there's a thing as let alone a law against it? The FBI, they sneaky as hell." Yes, they are, and the only reason I would report you is because if I don't, I could be seen as an accomplice, and I do not want to get that. I've got my own problems. I have the FBI after my ass for allowing it. We all know how the government likes to do that shit.
It might be extra illegal if he said he was from California, because California's, you have to have a two-party consent state, actually, so.
Yeah.
So know your laws. Apparently
just know your laws and watch what you put on the internet, dude.
Yeah.
But as long as you follow our rules, we got no problem with you. Our only rule is don't release people's private information and don't use racial slurs on there because then YouTube likes to hit us because it's in our comment system.
Yeah.
I really don't care how people talk.
I just don't want to be doing this.
But we we want to keep doing this. But what I was going to say with the Dave Ramsey thing is, I use something called the Lazy Bachelor's budget, where I just spend as little money as possible.
Yeah, I can't see you doing too much besides going to work and eating.
Yeah, pretty much, and stuff on the internet. But
yeah,
internet can get expensive.
It can.
But I have found that Dave Ramsey has a good base grasp on the situation of a lot of people to get them out of debt. But his desire is to up people's income by like saying they got to up their income in the house by $30,000 a year, so time to go stop delivering pizzas. Sorry, that's not how that works. You're not going to up your income in your house by $30,000 a year by both you getting a second part-time job.
I don't think that, like, his base ideas are fine, but
his execution, if you try to execute what he tries to tell you, it isn't going to work very well.
Yeah, and like the thing is, it depends on the person. but like fitting his schedule to a T is just basically impossible for most people to do.
And if you notice, most people he helps already have advanced degrees and good jobs.
Yeah,
So it's not like they're not in our situation. Well, I have a decent job and some debt and some other life circumstances that are keeping me in my situation. And it's not like you who make a lot of your money on the internet and therefore can't
yeah,
really do a budget.
exactly.
But it does look like we're running out of time, and I think our one viewer left, but at least we got a like today and some interaction.
Yeah,
So
that was
thank you to our
surprising.
interaction.
Thank you from talking all the way from California. We didn't
Yeah,
even know we had viewers that far.
if you're from California, because I think he was just putting someone who was in California's address.
Oh,
But anyways, I'm Tony Sixswing, and this is my co-host. This has been the Overtime Podcast. Remember, we are now on SoundCloud and iTunes, and hopefully, I'll be able to get my review of Police Academy done by the end of next week. Hopefully.
hopefully.
So who knows? It depends. I'm kind of having an issue with writing the script, so it'll be done when it's done. Anyways, have a good one.
Bye.